Rise and shine with us. We're in New York City on this Wednesday. It is February 7th. Peter Schrager alongside Kyle Brandt and Nate Burleson and myself. We have some huge news breaking just last night. We were covering it from every angle for everyone out there this morning. If you haven't heard, longtime Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels has withdrawn from the Colts head coaching job just hours after his introductory press conference was announced by the team. So, yeah, let's get a lot to talk about. Time for the lead block.
Lead block.
Unpacking this bad boy. Welcoming in our very own Mike Garafolo. Good morning football to you, Mike. How did this go down with McDaniels and the Colts?
Okay, it went down with the Colts fully expecting that they were going to hold a press conference this morning announcing Josh McDaniels as their new head coach. This is not a blown media report. This was a team announcing that they had agreed to terms with their new head coach. Now, that contract was not signed, so that's why McDaniels was able to back out of this one when he had concerns about a family situation. He told people also that there were things that came up with the Colts and also things that came up with the Patriots. Now, I heard Peter Schrager last hour say it was more about the Patriots than the Colts. I truly believe that. Now, there's nothing that can be put in writing saying that McDaniels is going to succeed Bill Belichick as head coach of the Patriots, but that has to be a part of this. That's something that I have heard along the way. I will add this right here. Even McDaniels' own agent, according to sources informed of the talks between McDaniels and his agent, that agent is Bob Lamont. Even Lamont told McDaniels that he is making perhaps the biggest professional mistake of his career by backing out of this Colts job at this point. Now, if McDaniels winds up being the head coach of the Patriots in a couple of years, it'll all have been worth it for him. But it is a leap of faith for McDaniels to stay in New England, because I can tell you that across the league, 31 other teams are looking at this saying that Josh McDaniels' chances of being a head coach with any other team except for the Patriots took a real hit for him to back out of it at this point.
Sounds like he must be certain, or has a good idea that he might be the head coach up there in Foxborough. Interesting. A lot of questions here with Mike Garafolo. We'll be checking in with you. One of the biggest questions, though, is what does Indianapolis do, and what's the reaction from Colts fans after hearing this news last night? So for more on that, let's flip it over live to Indianapolis, welcoming in our very own Tom Pelissero. We're covering this from every angle we can. You're there with the Colts. How shocked was this fan base? Was this front office, this team, and what do they do now?
Well, the fans are one thing. I think that they've been through enough over recent years that they've almost gotten used to various levels of different disappointments. But let's focus on who matters. The Indianapolis Colts. They believe they had a deal in place. Josh McDaniels had agreed to terms. They had locked in on him several weeks ago. They believed he was going to be the guy. It had gotten far enough down the road. They had already hired 3 of his assistants. Those guys were in the building, including defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. They were under contract. The Colts were making calls for more guys to fill out McDaniels' staff. Instead, McDaniels calls GM Chris Ballard about 7 p.m. last night and says that he has had a change of heart. This leaves the Colts in a really difficult position for a variety of reasons. Chief among them, look back at who they interviewed in their initial process. There was Matt Nagy, but he already had the Chicago Bears job in hand. Josh McDaniels ended up being their #1 choice. Now he's backed out. The Colts' #2 choice was Mike Vrabel, who took the Tennessee Titans job, which wasn't even open at the time that Josh McDaniels already had locked in with the Indianapolis Colts. They also talked to Chris Richard. He was subsequently fired by the Seattle Seahawks as defensive coordinator. The feeling was he's not quite ready. Matt Rule also was brought in to interview for the job. But really, the Colts here are left at square one, looking out there for other possibilities. There's other guys who have ties to Ballard, such as Dave Tobe from the Chiefs, Tom Cable, who's now out in Oakland. He was also let go by Seattle in the offseason. A lot of questions for the Colts, but the good news for them, and Mike Garafolo just spoke about it, yes, certainly McDaniels had to look at Andrew Luck's shoulder, look at working for Jim Irsay, the owner. All those things factored into him taking the job, but that's not why he backed out. I spoke to somebody very close to McDaniels this morning who told me this was about the Patriots. He went in to clean out his office at Gillette Stadium yesterday, ended up meeting for hours with Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, Jonathan Kraft. Those guys laid out how they feel about McDaniels and what the process is going to be in New England going forward. McDaniels walked out of there, talked with his wife, made a decision that he feels is best for him staying in New England.
And McDaniels now stays with the Patriots, where he has spent 14 of his 17 years in the NFL. Great stuff from Tom Pelissero there. Back here in New York City, we've talked to Mike Garafolo. Tom Pelissero with the Colts. What do you have on the story?
Yeah, look, he came to work yesterday. He showed up in Foxborough with boxes ready to pack the boxes up and get out of there. So this wasn't something that was going on in the back. This was a conversation that was held in Foxborough. And to Mike's point, to Tom's point, and they're excellent in both of these guys and what they're saying. It's all accurate. So there was a conversation had. It involved the Crafts. It involved Belichick. And there was a decision after that Josh McDaniels is willing to, quite frankly, sully his reputation around the league and he has built up a good reputation after being the bottom of the barrel after the Denver experiment. I mean, he had a bad reputation. He has spent many, many years building that up to be in the good faith and regarded in such a high level. But what happens is he has a decision with his wife that it is a better decision for our family, the 4 kids and himself, to stay up in New England as the offensive coordinator with the assumption that I someday will be the one to carry the torch from Bill Belichick than to go and be the head coach in Indianapolis. But Tom's right. 3 different men left jobs to go be coaches with the Indianapolis Colts on the assumption that Josh McDaniels is there. Here's the deal. The NFL has a real wonky rule about this stuff. You cannot be hired until after the Super Bowl. So he never signed a thing with the Indianapolis Colts. Look, you can drag him all you want. The McDaniels camp would say he chose his family and his own life over the reputation, over the job, and over the criticism of everyone else out there, because you can poke a lot of holes in this story and say he did a lot of people dirty with this one.
I just have a hard time seeing him doing all of those things, sullying his reputation, as you said, doing that, whatever he's going to do to his reputation around the league, with it being just an assumption.
Yeah, you can't.
It's hard to believe that it's just an assumption. I'm assuming that it's more of a guarantee, like something went down and he was like, all right, this is going to be mine eventually.
Yeah, at worst, a handshake deal, and looking eye to eye about this is going to be your keys to the kingdom. And you know, everybody likes the story because it's awkward, and everybody likes watching an awkward breakup. And I look at the Colts. Everybody's having their fun on Twitter and making fun of the Colts, and there's the memes. And I saw one they raised the banner that says we almost got Josh McDaniels. The Colts Twitter themselves were all in, very excited. Yesterday, they're tweeting a GIF of McDaniels doing a fist pump saying press conference tomorrow. They actually tweeted a little column, get to know Josh McDaniels. That is awkward, and I would show these tweets right now, but I can't because they are gone and they took them down.
Deleted from Earth.
Deleted. They'll never be seen again. And it feels so awkward and it feels so embarrassing, but I keep coming back to my point about this was the best thing that could happen to the Colts, their players, and their fans, because they were getting a coach who was not all in, who was not psychologically in, was not bringing his family, was looking for a way out. And truly, if you're looking for any comfort, let's be honest, what are you missing out on here? Look at the record of Belichick's assistants when they leave. They're about 500. All right, so Josh McDaniels could have gone and fallen on his face. The Denver thing was weird with Tebow and it didn't work. So you are not getting God's gift to head coaching. You're getting a hell of a coordinator who's done nothing as a head coach. That's what you missed out on. I think this is a good day for the Colts fans, and I think history will show that.
Last hour, I gave my opinion on the business side of it, and I said it's about love and respect. I love the idea that he could have been the head coach for the Colts, but I respect the fact that he decided to stay because he felt like there was a better opportunity for him in New England Patriots organization and also for his family. Now, let me take you into the locker room. If I'm an Indianapolis Colts player and I hear the news that we might get Josh McDaniels.
So that you're getting Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, but like Peter said, it's all in agreement at that point.
Peter, can you clarify, though, for the table? Sorry, I'm interrupting. It's not just he might get there. He went on an interview. He committed to them, right?
He committed to the team.
There's no contract
They talked terms.
They talked terms. Money was on the table. He didn't sign a thing, though.
Okay.
And until yeah, but it was, I mean, they wouldn't have tweeted out, welcome, coach. He agreed to the job. He told the Ursays, I'm taking the job.
So the point I'm trying to make is if I'm a player in that locker room and I hear the news that Josh McDaniels is headed back to New England, okay, let's move on. Get out your feelings. Let's find a man for the job. Yeah, the fans might be a little upset, and those who are looking at this from an outside perspective are sitting there saying, oh, well, what is Josh doing? He's a bum. He's scared. He's a coward. He doesn't want any challenge. He's going back to New England because that's where he feels safe. Fine. But the guys that matter most are the guys in that organization, and most importantly, the guys that put on the uniform. And the guys in the uniform are saying, please, Josh McDaniels, you are our savior. You're the one that was going to get us to the Super Bowl. They're saying, let's go find the right man for the job, like KB said. He wasn't the right man, regardless of how you want to spin it. If he was in that locker room, he was 1 foot out, 1 foot in anyway, and we know that his dream job is somewhere else. So I think about the player's perspective, and I think about this from a business perspective. From a business perspective, I get what he's doing. From a player's perspective, move on, find the man you want.
I think the money is an interesting thing. So here he is. He's making whatever an offensive coordinator makes, probably at the highest level of that. But a head coach money is a totally different deal. And I was told that the agreement in place would have paid him among the top head coaches, not Belichick, not Gruden, but right there. I mean, we're talking north of 5, north of 6, north of maybe 7 here. So you're talking about all that money that he knows it's coming to him. He's taking far less to stay in New England with the hope that when Belichick steps aside, he'll be the guy, with the assumption that that's what's going to happen. We'll note this, though. San Francisco went through a coaching search last year. Josh McDaniels was their #1 target. He withdrew his name.
Bell of the ball.
Bell of the ball. He was the guy. He said, I don't want to, I'm going to stay here instead. San Francisco was going to pay him crazy money last year. Cleveland, Jimmy Haslam was willing to throw him a lot of money. So clearly money doesn't motivate this guy. And when money doesn't motivate you and you have something in your heart that says, I want to be the Patriots head coach, loyalty to, Matt Eberflus and Dave DeGulmo and Mike Fair, and I hate to disregard
who leveled up, by the way.
I was going to say, those guys, I mean, Dave DeGulmo was fired from New England 3 years ago because they couldn't protect Brady. He was going on as the Dolphins offensive line coach. That's a huge deal for him to be hired as an offensive line coach with the Colts. Like, it was a no-brainer for him to go and take that job. So, yeah, it burns him.
Regardless.
But he did take a promotion. He did get a job. Look, this affects the lives of not only these 3 men, but their entire families and 20 different coaches who maybe didn't take other jobs because they're hoping they would join Josh, or
and
they were
the
waiting.
Colts players, you're saying it's not, he wasted their time. They are now, it is February 7th.
What time is wasted? You
I
still
find
got
it
to show
hard to
up and
believe
go
players
do
in
your
the
job.
locker room are saying, like, oh, that sucks, let's go find their guy.
They're not mad at
Indy got here. Don't get it twisted.
The players are mad at
Josh McDaniels, the star coordinator, where those guys like T.Y. Hilton and Andrew Luck at all not excited to have Josh McDaniels, not disappointed now.
Of course they are, but you got to understand how fast you got to move on in this business. This is a cold business. Guys get cut, released, and traded like that, and the same thing happens with coaches. So as players, you have to be callous to this.
If it was never about money, and it seems like it's not, right? He didn't take the job in San Francisco. You're saying, then why would he even go to Indianapolis if his dream is to be in New England and he loves it there and he wants to be, like, something clearly happened from yesterday into today where he was told that that's actually going to switch up because he did commit. He was there to pack his stuff up. It was it was a done deal minus some technicality. So that is what switched.
Yeah, and clearly there was a conversation had yesterday because that's what everyone, I mean, there was a conversation had with the Krafts and Belichick that probably had not occurred before.
I also don't believe that. I don't believe that if
you don't think that Belichick said I'm gonna I mean if Belichick says yeah, because Belichick could coach till he's 90. It's all I mean, so
I think that's what Belichick had to have told him. That's why he took the Indy job. If I'm considering taking a head coaching job and have had so much success in Foxborough, I'm going to Bill and Mr. Kraft and saying, do you see me being the head coach of this team? And if they said no, or if they said we can't tell you that, then I'm like, peace out, I'm going to Indy. So maybe they came back yesterday and said we do see that, and that flipped the script.
Perhaps. Or maybe he just had to change.
I don't take that job without having that conversation. Hey, what's my future here? Am I moving up?
And when? I want to know when. I don't want Belichick coaching.
It's not going to happen, kid. Then he gets out of there.
We keep talking about this final. We keep talking about this final meeting with Belichick and Kraft. That's fine. What about a meeting he had with his family? What about a meeting he had with the man in the mirror and he said, you know what? I want to chase this dream, but I want to stay here. What if he's looking at his kids and saying, I don't want to uproot them, put them away from their friends and what they know as comfort. I want these guys to be more comfortable than I am.
And he felt this yesterday?
He could have, possibly. Change of heart. It happens all the time in sports.
Life finds a way.
Two more little wrinkles, and then we'll go to commercial. But really quickly, one, his agent is Bob Lamont, who they mentioned, who's a power broker. Bob Lamont is a
strong name in his
strong name. Has been Andy Reid's agent.
Very well respected.
Like Holmgren's agent. He's also Chris Ballard, the GM of the Colts' agent. So imagine that awkward nature right there. And the commission he just lost, not taking that. The final thing is this: the Colts play the Patriots next season in Foxborough. Right. I cannot wait for that one.
Is this rivalry renewed now? I feel like looking at Twitter, it seems like it, right?
Great now. Can't wait to watch this.
Love all the perspectives here at the breakfast table this morning. Coming up, don't go anywhere. This is Good Morning Football, the Philly special. Sounds like something you order late night.
Oh, it sounds good.
But it's not. It's something that wins you Super Bowls. This was a now famous play. We're going to break it down, and we'll rank how memorable this was and tell you who should be getting thanks for it as well. Plus, Justin Timberlake made this boy famous during the halftime show. We'll tell you why someone else in the shot needs to get some love, though. We'll be back. I don't even know what that is.
I am the new Honey